Hi, everybody. So today in math, we covered fractions, and we talked about what does a fraction look like, what does a fraction mean, and then how do we say fractions when we were putting numbers, when we're changing numbers from groups into fraction form. If we take a look at our anchor chart that we talked about today, this is really important for our kiddos to understand the different words and how we say the different fractions. As you can see, we have whole, half, thirds, fourths, sixths, and eighths. And then we have the picture of what each fraction would look like. We gave them a couple minutes to write down the words for each of the fractions, and so they can understand and see what they look like.
Quick question, Mr. Kiefer.
Yes,
I
ma'am.
noticed that it didn't say fifths or sevenths. Is there a reason why it doesn't say fifths or sevenths?
Those are fractions. It was just one of the things where if you looked at it again, it only covered the even. It only covered mostly even numbers in third. And normally you wouldn't see a lot of, you also wouldn't see a lot of fractions as sevenths. You really wouldn't see a lot of fractions as fifths. They are out there, but they're not as common as these fractions right here. It's more common to cut something into thirds and fourths and sixths than to cut something into sevenths or fifths. While they are out there, it's just not as common.
Thank you.
But in the classroom, we will be learning that, especially next year in third grade when they have to cut out their own fractions. Next, we covered fractions on a piece of paper. So we spent some time. We started talking about what do fractions mean. So if I have the fraction 2/3, what does the 2 mean and what does the 3 mean? Well, the 2 is our numerator, and the 3 would be our denominator. And in more simple terms, this is our part over whole. When we see our top number, that's always the part, or you can say it's the piece, right? The top number is what piece is being taken out, what piece is being used, or what piece is left. And then the bottom number is always the whole picture. It's always the whole picture. So if we looked at a picture like this, and I cut it into thirds, and then we shade in this one, we shade in this one, all right, well, how many pieces have been shaded in? 2 pieces. And how many pieces make up the whole picture? A lot of kids will just say 1 and put it there because they think whatever's left is the answer. But we have to remember that the whole picture we're talking about means the whole picture. So we have 1, 2, 3. And that would make our denominator, as in 2/3. Another example we looked at today was we had a picture like this. And then I shaded in, let's say I shaded in this picture, and this picture. Let's say I shaded in this one. Well, we talked about what would be the fractions for the shaded portion and the non-shaded portion. Again, these are questions that they will be asked sometime down the road on any kind of exams. If we look at the shaded portion, we need to look at, well, how many pieces are shaded? And then I see 1, 2, and 3 pieces shaded here. Draw my line because that 3 is our part. Always remember, part over whole. That 3 is our part. Then we look at, well, how many pieces are in the picture? So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So our fraction would be 3/8. Then if you look at our non-shaded portion, now we're going to look at which pictures are just normal. And we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then as our whole, how many pictures are left? Like not left, I'm sorry. How many pictures still make up the entire thing? How many squares are in our picture? And that's still 8. All right. If we look at just one more, give you one more quick and easy practice, I'm going to cut our shape pretty simple like this. I'm going to shade in this one. And I'm still going to look for the shaded and I'm still going to look for the not shaded part. So when we look for the shaded, we see we have one piece shaded in, and there are 4 that make up our entire picture. So that's 1/4. When I look at my not shaded in, I see there are 3 pieces that are plain. And then I see there are still 4 pictures that make up my entire picture. So that's 4. So we see our fraction for the shaded is 1/4, and the fraction for the not shaded is 3/4. So this is what we covered today. Thursday, we're going to cover fractions on a number line. It was so great seeing everybody today. If you want, you're more than welcome to work on, to pause the video. Give me a second. And you may show them this picture. There it is. Are you able to see it?
Not just yet, but while Mr. Keefer's pulling that up, you can also talk with fractions with your scholars while you're cooking, while you're doing your grocery shopping, while you're serving dinner, even the fractions of what's on their plate. So many different times during the day that you can just have a really natural conversation with your scholars using fractions.
Yep. Are you able to see the paper now? The first six are the ones we worked on. You're more than welcome to pause the video now and practice these with your kids at home. As Ms. Winter said, in your everyday cooking, you use fractions. When you're sharing a candy bar, you're using fractions. And fractions are just really in every aspect of our life. So thank you so much for seeing everybody today. Thank you so much for being here, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. Bye.